You live on that X formerly known as Twitter, that platform.
Rolling the intro.
Greetings, Padawans, and welcome to the Archives. Here to unlock this holocron is the man of the hour, Jedi Master Sotiko.
Hey guys, we're live. Where's Evan? There he is. There he is.
Like, oh no, I'm getting hidden again.
There he is. There he is. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Archives podcast. Evan said that he really wants to do the intro today, so take it away.
We do? Okay. Apparently I'm doing the intro. Welcome back. So excited to have you guys back. It is episode 54, right?
54.
Episode 54, season 4. We have made it through the entire prequel trilogy, and we are now moving into a little break from the mainline Skywalker saga. As this week we are tackling Solo, the Star Wars story.
That's right.
One of my personal favorites. Love this movie. So excited to get into it this week.
Underrated story.
This movie. Big time underrated Star Wars movie, for real.
Not just...
Did not get the love it deserves. Did not get the love it deserved on release. Still, I don't think
Greetings,
it's the love it
Padawans,
deserves.
and welcome to the Archives.
Absolutely. Do you remember when we were having that discussion about Solo last pod, about how Kathleen Kennedy said it was like her biggest regret?
I don't remember you saying that, but sure. I remember us talking about Solo. I don't remember that ever being said, but sure.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy said in her exit interview that Solo was her biggest regret. And man, that's tough. I know, like, financially it was probably a burden. But it's such a fun movie. It really is. And I was telling my buddy JT, because I watched it again today, and I told my buddy JT that this should have been a video game. That would have been sweet. That would have
been a dope video game.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it was. It felt like a video game adaptation to film. You know what I mean?
I definitely see where that... It definitely had that very... I feel like it was... Especially... I think it would have functioned very similar to Outlaws. I think Outlaws is just video game Han Solo. Solo story.
Yeah, and... what a cast that it had, too. First and foremost. Like... The cast was unreal, and there's this huge controversy about, do we recast the original cast because obviously they can't play that character anymore with the stories that people want to be told? Do they recast, or do we stick to those characters? That's what they look like, and they've done that with the deep fake technology. I don't know how you feel about that. How do you personally feel about that?
I mean, okay, so there's two different things that they had options for. Option A, well, I can't. How developed was it at this point? I can't remember. I guess it was actually pretty well developed. You have two options here. You either have the deep faking, getting an actor who is similar in the stuff, but then mocapping the original stuff and melding it together. We saw them do that in two separate areas in Rogue One with Leia and Tarkin. Leia looked fine. Tarkin was very much so dwelling in the uncanny valley every time he was on screen.
Yeah.
I have troubles with it only if the consent issue is murky.
Mm-hmm.
If the actor is still alive and they're just totally like, yeah, go for it, I'm cool with that, right? If the actor is no longer alive and you're having to go to family for consent, then it starts to get a little bit more iffy.
Right.
Because then it's up to the family to actually be knowledgeable of what their desire would have been. But again, so long as they're not just doing it and they're like, we have the rights to this because he's our character, whatnot. It's yeah, no. I don't personally have an issue with it. The other option is de-aging, which that technology has gotten pretty good, and especially considering it, they're all owned by Disney. Disney is really the biggest user of that because they used it a lot in Marvel.
Did they?
Productions? Yeah, because I was trying to think. I was like, when was the first? Because I think like the first big de-aging one was when they de-aged Michael Douglas in Ant-Man. They big time de-aged Michael Douglas for Ant-Man. That came out in 2015, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that was prior to Solo, which came out in 2018. I don't know. I don't necessarily have like an issue with it. I think it just has to be done well, because then otherwise
You need a good editor.
then it's distracting. You need a good editor.
Need a good VFX guy. You can't have the idea to do it and just get.
I think I'd prefer that you just hire a new actor, and just make sure the conversation is had that like this is not necessarily your character, but you get to take on this character at a different time, right? You don't get to completely reinvent him, but you do get to show us what he was like at a different time. Which I think he did, which I think Alden Ehrenreich did quite well in Solo. That it definitely still feels very much so like Han, just albeit a younger one.
Yeah.
And one that has not gotten around as much yet, that has not seen everything yet, that has not lived out his life the way he's wanted to thus far. So yeah, I think he did a good job, and I think it's unfortunate that I felt like that was a point where his career really could have taken off, and I feel like it unfortunately didn't, because I don't feel like I've seen a whole lot of things with him in it since then.
I read that it was supposed to be a 3-film contract. He's only done one, so I don't know what happens to those other 2, if they get just cashed out or voided or what, but he's a good actor. He's a really good actor, and I think he did Han Solo like I don't think anyone could do Han Solo better than that. Because you're not talking about Harrison Ford. You're talking about Han Solo.
Yeah.
And, man, like, it was kind of like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man for me, is that you kind of took this character and you put yourself into it and created this backstory that completely changes everything that comes afterwards, man. And it just gives you those added perspectives. For me, the thing that like I took away after watching this was, I think it kind of showed that Han never really gave up on himself. He tried to be a scumbag slimeball, because that's just how you have to make it in the galaxy. He lost his first family, his parents, and then he lost Kira. And then he lost so many members of his like immediate gang that he ran with after fighting in the war, which was nuts. It was cool to have that backstory for Han. That like when I was in the theaters the first time, and they showed that Han was a member of the Imperial Army, I was like, what? That is insane.
And then there's also the deleted scene where they show him pretty much getting kicked out of the Naval Academy. I do find it comical, and this had to have been intentional, that they cut from "we'll have you flying in no time" to Han Solo literally getting just thrown into the air by an explosion.
Right.
It's like he is indeed flying.
He is.
Maybe not the way he intended. So I thought that was a humorous little cut. And just I think kind of is a good way to like just again showcase that like, dude, nothing can go right for this guy.
No.
Right? Like absolutely nothing. And that's pretty much this entire movie is like nothing goes right.
And
like even at the end of the movie, like it's not until the end of the movie that like something finally goes his way, right? Although we know that from there things will continue to be up and down, but in a lot of times not go his way, particularly with a specific spice shipment.
Correct.
For the Hutts. So I felt like this is it's just such a good movie. I feel like it gets a lot of unnecessary hate. We've kind of talked about why that is. It fell on the curse. I think what Kathleen Kennedy's regret should be with Solo isn't making it or it's or like that it was a thing. or anything that the movie did. It should really just be when it was released.
Mm-hmm.
That was the fault of Solo. It was not anything in the movie, anything wrong with the movie. It was that it released at the wrong time. If it releases prior to Last Jedi, because I think most people were largely, I mean, I may be remembering this wrong because this was a while ago now and I was much younger, but I feel like the reception of Force Awakens was generally like pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like people generally liked that movie.
There was the most hype
people,
like ever going into The Last Jedi.
And then
expectations were really high.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
People absolutely adore Rogue One. And so I think if you go from Rogue One to Solo, I think people really like Solo, but you went from Rogue One, you went from what a lot of people would consider to be the best Star Wars movie from like a filmmaking standpoint, and maybe just an overall standpoint, to what is considered in a filmmaking and an overall standpoint the worst Star Wars movie. And then that really soured the taste in people's mouth.
Yeah.
And that taste did not leave in time. Or the other fault was maybe not releasing it after, but releasing it in May when your previous release schedule had for the last couple of movies had been December. You give it a full year, maybe people are willing to hop back on the train, but you did it in May. I think it came out in May. And so it was just, I think it was just too close. May 10th. Yeah. Yep. After it was like a mid-December release for The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And if Last Jedi had gone well, then, that would have been great because, man, Solo probably would have made so much money if Last Jedi had done great. Because Last Jedi done great. Oh my gosh, we're already getting another Star Wars movie. Everyone would have flooded the box office. And then everyone hated Last Jedi, and so no one went to go see it.
Yeah, and one thing that also stunned the hell out of me was I really thought back. I don't remember a lick of marketing for this movie. I don't remember commercials. I don't remember press interviews. I don't remember anything for Solo at all. So maybe it was also just a tough marketing failure by the marketing team for it. Maybe the budget got used up for making the movie, so they didn't have enough to cover marketing. That was something that I really thought back to think of. Like, the Star Wars sequels were getting Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah.
I don't remember lick for Solo. But be that as it may, that doesn't matter. Like, those things are all trivial. Those things are all L-nerd things to even worry about. I had there was an old co-host on this show who used to base his opinion on things based around reviews and how people liked them, and that's just such a weird thing to do. It's such a weird thing to do. It's a weird philosophy to intake media, and Solo was at its main target. And it's just like, bro, you haven't seen the movie, so you arguably can't say anything about it. Which is, in my estimations, valid, especially for a movie that I feel like you said gets quite fairly untreated, Mr. R2 Evan.
Anything that's not the other names you have for me.
I don't know what names you're talking about. I have no clue. But to go through a quick little abbreviated breakdown for you guys, if you've not seen it, it's quite a different sort of vibe from any other Star Wars movie that we had seen up to that point. It's industrial. We kick off on Corellia. And what would you say Han's a part of? Like a scavenging cult?
I wouldn't say a cult. More just like he's basically just part of a gang.
An underground scavenging gang. Yeah, that's probably
pretty much just a gang.
And
it's like it's what Rey was doing on Jakku, but more crime and with lots of orphans.
Yeah.
Like lots more Reys.
Yeah, so I think that
unfortunately,
parents sell their children to these sorts of gangs for money to get off world, gambling money, whatever,
or heck, just factories aren't always kind to the workers in terms of stuff happens.
Yep.
And in an empire like that, stuff might be more likely to happen. That's not like being like, oh, they were like taking, they probably weren't regulating things the way they should, and there was more accidents. OSHA was not available. It was an imperial factory was OSHA's worst nightmare, is what I'm saying.
That's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. Those shipyards were something serious.
OSHA bucket list.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure there definitely was maybe factories not paying all too well. So literally to even, or maybe they're hoping that hey, these gangs will teach you how to fend for yourself in the streets, protect you. So maybe there's an aspect of it. It's this is for your own good, even too, which is crazy to think about. But that is entirely possible. That's a point that people reach, is that actually potentially it gave them an opportunity at a better life, even maybe.
Yeah.
Which it sounds insane, but maybe is not unreasonable.
It shows you how crummy of a place it is when the imperial border lady is able to be bribed with a little unit of coaxium to let Han and Kira through when they're making their exit. And I don't want to glance over that little speeder race, that little speeder chase scene. That was pretty cool.
That was sick.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Did we? I can't remember. Did we have? I can't remember. Was there a car chase scene in a previous movie? Yes, there was. Yeah, we had
an Attack of the Clones. That was a really cool
Attack of the Clones.
one.
That was cool, but that was a very Star Warsy chase scene.
Yeah.
This was a very just normal car chase scene.
Yeah.
And I thought that was sick. I also loved the visual appearance of the speeder that he steals. Is
it was a manual.
And I feel like it in a lot of ways it felt like that scene, and specifically the styling of that speeder, felt a little bit to me like they had to have been to some amount paying homage to American Graffiti. No,
for sure. And that's what I felt too.
To who George was. It just, even if it wasn't intentional, it's definitely where it brings your mind back to, right? That was George's first movie. That was the era George grew up in, and he loved that stuff, and so it just felt very perfect. Great overall fun scene. We also get to see that Han has always had these lucky dice, and he loves them.
Yeah, I'm looking up right now, and George Lucas helped direct some of Solo, and he was on set for a good amount of Solo. And the director for the movie, Ron Howard, is a disciple. He's in the coaching tree of George Lucas. And
you had John and Lawrence Kasdan, who of course phenomenal writers, iconic Star Wars writers. And then again, we hadn't even really fully hit on just that casting. We sung the praises of Alden Ehrenreich and how good he did, taking over as Han Solo. But I mean, he's not the only recast that took place, right? We also recasted, Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian, right? And gave it to Donald Glover, and I thought Donald Glover was phenomenal.
Yeah, smashed it out of the park.
Differences as Donald Glover went on and actually continued to be in big name movies.
Yeah, and he's apparently he finished the script for Solo and turned it in. to Lucasfilm. So we could have the production of Lando happening pretty soon. That'll be pretty tight, because that'd be
sick. I'll watch.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be a branch in all of this. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw the gang back together, like Alden Ehrenreich with Lando and them, at some point in that movie. I don't know what the story's gonna be. Doubt there's any sort of like leaked premise, nor do I care, but that would be really cool. That'd be really cool, and it'll be cool to see him have some more time in there, because I wish that Billy D. Williams could have had a chance to do a little bit of an expansion on the Lando character. It sucks we only get him for 2 movies. And
sparingly.
And same with Boba Fett. Like he and
Billy Williams
Boba Fett
had to come back and reprise Lando and Rise.
Yeah, and he was sweet, but
it was great.
Definitely felt like a key jangle, and how it was like,
hey, remember this guy who you loved and adored?
And he's gonna say the same lines, and he's gonna hit his same emotes.
We're gonna nostalgia bait.
Yeah,
just like we kept talking about last week. We're nostalgia baiting.
I'm cool with like cameos. I'm really cool with cameos, but do them like they do it in Andor. Like, oh, here's Bail Organa, and he's leaving a place, and you barely even talk to him. Like, that's what cameos are meant to be. Otherwise, like, he needs a little bit more screen time to get truly invested into the weaving of the story. And Solo, they did it pretty early. They brought in Chewbacca pretty early, and then they brought Lando in pretty early as well. You get Lando for more than half the movie, which kind of fits. And what I felt was that Han started to grow this really tough like sense of fear of abandonment a little bit. So when skipping all the way to the end, when Lando takes off, he's like, son of a bitch, like, there I go trusting someone and they screw me over. And then Lando inevitably comes back to help out. That's kind of a mirror of exactly what Han did in Star Wars. Is he left. Luke said, oh yeah, go worry about your own skin. It's what you do best, you son of a bitch. And then he comes back at the end and pulls off a maneuver that Anakin Skywalker would be proud to know that it was his future son-in-law. So, all that to say, like, it's dope to see how the continuity of that emotion, that fear of abandonment, and that story get conjoined from one movie to another that came out. What, at that point? Jesus.
It was 39 years. It was like, because yeah, it would have just turned 39. So it was a year shy of 40.
Yeah.
I believe it came out. I believe Star Wars came out in May of '77. So wait, no, it came in 2018. So it actually just turned 41. I forget. I always think that Solo came out in 2016, but it came out in 18.
Yeah, 41-year story conjoining. Really sick. And it was really nice to see. It was really nice to see at the time, and going back, it was so worth the rewatch. Did you get to see most of it?
Let's see. I have gone all the way to Dryden's yacht in my rewatch.
And that's something that makes Solo so interesting, is it gets to explore that shit. The Dryden Vosses, the Crimson Dawns of the world, the Pike Syndicate. Seeing the Pikes was so dope.
Yeah.
And I love seeing stuff
if you were
like
a Clone Wars watcher, you were like, oh, sick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and then again, like, and the thing that the part that still blows my mind is how little hype it is. I'm shocked that this was not talked about more.
Mm-hmm.
But that, like, for all the casual Star Wars fans, right? Who don't go and watch all the TV shows. There was a significant number of people who were like, wait, Darth Maul's alive?
That
right?
was sick.
That was a very non-zero number of people, and I think a lot of us as Star Wars fans forget that because we'd all seen Clone Wars, we'd all seen Rebels by that point, right? Maul had already appeared in Rebels by the time we got Solo, and so we already were like, yeah, Maul's alive, and Maul's alive after this too, right? But like, dude, for some people, Darth Maul just appearing was like an atom bomb, bro. Like, I don't feel like we talk about that enough. It's like how sick of a reveal that was, and how it's like almost unfortunate that it wasn't really a reveal to the majority of people who actually went to go see that movie.
It's a really good point.
To a significant number of people, maybe not a majority, I don't know. I won't say for sure majority, but to a significant number of people, it wasn't a reveal. It was just like it was just really, oh, he's behind this, not that he's alive. And I feel like they're both reveals, but he's alive is way bigger. I mean, and another one we haven't talked about. I mean, do you want to get into the cast and like kind of break down like every character that was like significant? Because I want to start with Woody Harrelson's Tobias Beckett.
Love Woody Harrelson, and I have ever since Zombieland. I think that was my first Woody Harrelson project that I was huge on, and he is just like, he gets on base.
Yeah, no, for real. How long before his long lost brother Matthew McConaughey gets to Star Wars, bro?
That's what I'm saying, man.
No, dude.
Maybe in Maul Shadow Lord. Who knows?
Maybe in Starfighter.
Yeah, who knows?
But what I thought was really cool was how they set up that Tobias Beckett is not some small time guy, right? And how you kind of progressively get to learn that through the first hour or so of the film, right? The fact that, Val even brings up, bring in Bosk, for example, to do a job. Bosk would work with you guys. Like, you're not just suggesting that, that would be like, if they were like some small times, it would be like suggesting like, hey, what if we recruited Mike Trout to play on our slow pitch softball team? Like, that is what if you recruited Patrick Mahomes to play for our intramural flag football team, right? No, they were legitimate baller mercenaries, bro.
Absolutely.
And so just even mentioning that is the first little hint. And then you kind of find out he's working for Crimson Dawn, and you see this Dryden Voss guy roll up in this nice yacht, bro. When you're rolling up and you living on what people would refer to as a yacht, and you're a crime lord, we know you be balling in that big stuff, bro. We know what you dealing in. And so
100%.
And so then it's like, you're working for this guy. Cool. And he's like, and he's putting you on his big ticket jobs in theory, right? Based off the way that Coaxium's getting sold to us in this movie, that it's like, it is this big, huge, important resource that everyone wants, and it's super valuable. This like little itty bitty thing of his 800 credits, which, one credit, roughly $1 USD, right, is the way it's been roughly equated. Which kind of taking it back to what you said about that person. It took only 800 credits. Like, it sounds like a lot, but when you realize it's like $800, that is like, you are going to prison for a long time level stuff. for only 800 credits.
100%.
Which tells you how bad they needed money there, even if you worked for the Empire. But I think the real kicker was when Lando meets him, and he's like, "You killed Aurra Sing." Again, casual viewers are like, "Who the freak is Aurra Sing?"
Mm-hmm.
But all of us who watched Clone Wars,
The Phantom Menace,
and know who watched Phantom. Yeah, but she was just there. She had a cameo.
Bro, that's still Aurra Sing, man.
Yes, this is true, but like they would have been like. But again, if you're a casual fan, if you knew who that was randomly, like he killed some like whiter than a piece of paper sniper rifle lady.
Yep.
Cool, I guess. But then you see what she does in Clone Wars. You see the way she was moving in Clone Wars, type of bounty hunter she was. You're like, dang.
Mm-hmm.
This guy killed her. Like,
it's crazy how characters like that can
okay.
get carried, dude. Like from comics or books or anything like that. Because
like
Jango Fett had
this guy was moving. This guy had that motion.
Oh, 100%. Dryden Voss is so sick, and
oh, yes.
I know that those Crimson Dawn comics are also so sick. Kira is the glue in all this too, and we haven't even talked about her and the actor that portrays her and how just huge that she was at the time as well. Like Game of Thrones was bumping. I don't know if you ever watched Game of Thrones. I've never watched Game of Thrones, but everyone that I've ever met has watched Game of Thrones. And it was kind of her show. And she kicked ass in it. And she came to Star Wars and put on a masterclass display of Kira. And to see that Kira was the glue from Han to Dryden to Maul, that was insane. So I really hope that moving on to Maul Shadowlord, that her story fleshes out even more, because she already displayed a whole lot inside of this movie.
Yeah. And especially because in this movie they kind of hint at maybe some like sins that were committed in the 3 years that her and Han were separated, right? Mm-hmm. It gets loosely mentioned, but you never get to really dig into like, okay, what did she go through, right? Because like I said, I was just getting to the part where they're on his yacht, and he's like, how'd you get out? I didn't, and then she immediately pivots topics. Mm-hmm. Like that's when you're like, oh yeah, that's not good. When someone just immediately is like, yeah, I didn't get out. Next topic of conversation. You can tell there was either bad stuff happened or bad stuff was done, right?
Right. Or bad stuff was happening.
Yeah. Or both, right? All of the above.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she was just a cool character, and then just like the way at the end it was just like, don't worry, I'll be out in a second, and then bye. Yep. get scammer get scammed.
How did you feel about that ending? How do you feel about the ending?
I mean,
as a story,
it made sense. It had to happen for the sake of, otherwise, unless something happened unfortunate happened to Kira, mm-hmm. then they were just going to be a thing forever.
Right.
And, you know, Chewie would have been stuck in the eternal third wheel, mm-hmm. or would have completely cut out at some point.
Yeah. I guess as a story, it's so like a figurative Romeo and Juliet, where it's just a love that you know is doomed going into it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, because the alternative is if something happens to her, then almost certainly that would like deeply affect him to where then that would completely affect the way that he would behave in A New Hope, right? As a character, as a person. So it was like you said, it was Romeo and Juliet. It was a doom to never happen, but it gives you something to like kind of root for. Even if it's just in concept, right?
Yeah, and even though it does break Han that she left, it had to break her just as much too. But I think she knew that Han was just too good of a person to get into that life, because he would have stayed and worked with her. She would have made it work, but she just made that sacrifice to go their separate ways. So shout out to Kira, man, making those tough decisions. Sometimes you have to, you know?
Yeah, she ultimately fell into the I've done too much wrong, and he's still too pure. Because I think even, I mean, Han seems like he was the kind of guy that, to some extent, always kept himself grounded.
Yeah.
You know, all his stuff.
Like he was a thief and a scoundrel because he had to be, but he didn't have to be anymore.
Yeah. Whereas I think Kira kind of just got to a point where she was like, this is my life now, and I've done things, and I'm not going to even bother trying to rectify those things. I'm just going to keep doing things and just try and shove it deep down. And that sucks. That's sad.
Yeah, it's really tough for Han because his entire life he's part of gangs. The one on Corellia, because that's the only family he has, and then the Beckett crew, it's the only family he has, and he's by himself with someone who is life debted to him. So they may as well be friends, you know? But it's kind of a heartbreaking story in and of itself. Like, the entire time, Han's obligation is searching for Kira, finding Kira, to be with Kira. And in the end, it just gets ripped from him. So yeah, it kind of sends Han back to square one. And that's where I kind of wish that they had a Solo to see Han get more into the cartel stuff. I feel like there's tons of room there to explore and create fun stories. Someone hop on that. Write a book.
Please.
Make a comic. Make a YouTube video.
I think that's part of why we're getting Shadow Lord. I hope that Shadow Lord doesn't try to just be one ultra continuous story, that since they are allegedly going to be having multiple seasons of that they allow there to be some time gaps. Because, dude, I would love to watch just Maul and Kira kicking other cartels' butts at some point in that show. That'd be so sick.
Getting their butt kicked.
I mean, I'm just overall excited for that show. I'm happy to see more Maul. Maul is such a great villain.
Maul's is he going to be the protagonist?
So well.
Is he going to be the protagonist of this show?
Dude, anti-hero Maul could be sick.
Sure, but like that's
because I think almost in essence there's a certain point where he's like, I think he's not such a binary villain anymore.
No.
Like,
not at all.
After he gets the little snip, once he gets the little cut in half, he's still most certainly a villain. But he's not your main villain. And he's not even aligned with the main villain. He's just kind of a bad dude.
I might go back and watch the Maul episodes of Clone Wars.
And I'd say even in that, he is still a bit more evil, but like,
it's honestly, a transition.
Him in Rebels, he's very interesting. Like, and so I really hope that this will. And he's a very different character in Rebels to what he was. So I am going to definitely be very curious to see how they transition Clone Wars Maul to Rebels Maul. Because there's definitely still a lot of hints of him there, because he's still the same guy and he still has a lot of the same like issues, and he still has like this craving for revenge.
Right.
But he's a lot more cerebral. Yeah. In Rebels, where he still is pretty aggressive in Clone Wars. Even he's less aggressive when he has Savage
Yeah,
around,
shit.
but he's still
Rebels,
he's still willing to get his hands pretty dirty in Clone Wars, whereas versus Rebels is, you can tell he definitely wants to be more hands off if he can.
Yeah, I think in Clone Wars he's in, I think his late 30s in Clone Wars, and then in Rebels he's in his mid 50s. So it's a completely different guy, and this is somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
So that's what I look forward to see. And man, it's crazy even going back and watching Maul in episode 1. Feels like such a different person, but then again, like, that's him as a 22-year-old coked up, methed up weapon.
Sith apprentice.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, just a weapon.
Well, that's what he always was. Like, he was the spearhead of the Sith revealing themselves in Plagueis's plan. The Sith were going to reveal themselves, and they were going to start the war. But Palpatine took it upon himself to delay that revelation until he had a contingency plan in mind, which was the clone army. I look forward to seeing if there's any clone uprising that happens in Maul Shadow Lord. And it was very interesting to see just the kind of birth of live action crime in Star Wars. I feel it was really cool to see that side of things, and it was different. Like, this was crime for crime, not crime for a rebellion or something like that. Yeah. So I look forward to seeing the expansion of it. I really do. Unfortunately, I do have to cut things short tonight, so that's gonna wrap it up. Do you have any final thoughts on the Solo?
Thank you for finally giving us on-screen Sabacc.
That too, dude. I'm
live action. Technically, again, Rebels gave it to us, but the way Rebels did it versus the way, Solo did it. Granted, Solo is a full-length movie. They have a bit more freedom of how much screen time they're allowed to do with things, but both the Sabacc scenes are just so much fun in that movie. Just really getting you all excited and just, good fun scenes. Great movie, deserves more love, deserves more time to talk about it. We get an excellent movie next week, though.
Yes, we do. We're going to talk about all of Andor and all of Rogue One next week.
All of Andor. Well, I guess I know what I'm starting as soon as this ends.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I might have to rewatch the last 3 episodes of Andor, though. That might have to be a part of it.
Or just tap into some Generation Tech videos. Shout out to Alan. But yeah,
friend of the podcast.
A huge friend of the podcast. I emailed Sam Witwer's people.
Did you actually?
I actually did. I'm not joshing. We're taking a stab at it. The worst they can say is no, right? So, yeah. Taking a stab at it. Can't wait for next week, though. We'll have much more time next week. But for your boy, Jedi Knight Trevin and Big Evan, this has been the Archives Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Star Wars TAP. Join the Discord. Don't forget to tap in. Have a good one.
Yeah. May the Force be with you guys.